Hello, biology lab students. My name is Mrs. Foes, and I'm the instructor for this course. I've made this lecture video to try to introduce you to the course, how it's going to work, so that we're all on the same page. This is my first time teaching the online version of this course, so I'll be looking to you for feedback as we go, and I'll be learning with you if there's any questions that come up. Okay, so when you come into the course on Blackboard, you come into our announcements page. You've obviously gotten into getting started because you're watching this video. The next thing we've got here is the syllabus with our calendar, so I'm going to open that up. Okay, so I'll go through just a little bit of this information. You have to read it all on your own. So basically this course is the lab component to the Bio 112, the Intro for Non-Majors lecture course. I'm also teaching that this summer. And so what it covers is cell theory, genetics, energetics, evolution, and ecology. So basically we go really small picture with cells and genetics, cell division, and energetics. So we look at metabolism, like carbohydrates and pH and how those affect our metabolisms, and evolution and ecology, getting big picture. Okay, so course competencies, we'll hit these in most of our labs. This is the same as for 112, where we're demonstrating the same types of knowledge. This will be the more hands-on applied version of that. Okay, so for this course you will need to take a proctored exam in the final week of this course. Our school has proctored exams the 14th and 15th. If you can't take those at our school, you'll have to find another place to take them, either a library or a military base, anywhere else that's willing to proctor. Cool. Keep going. Grades, important dates. Okay, so course-specific information. We do virtual labs through a website through McGraw-Hill, so you have to buy access to that. I've got a link in the announcements to buy it directly so that you don't have to pay the bookstore markup. And everything in there is due, all the different labs, Sunday by midnight, and it's in Central Time. And then your proctored exam will be there as well, but it will be password protected, and the proctor will have that password for you. Okay, and our schedule. So normally in a regular semester, we have 16 to 17 weeks to cover this material. And what students would do would be they would do a 2-hour lab once a week. Well, we've got 5 weeks, and our 5th week is finals. So basically, you've got 3.5 or so to 4 weeks to really work on the content, and then you take the final. So it's a really quick-paced course. So what you'll have is several labs, and they're generally going to be a lot less than 2 hours long. So I went through for each lab, and it tells you the average time it takes. And so what I tried to do was make it so that you had about the same amount of work each week to spread it out. And so it's about 250 to 300 minutes on average each week, which is about 5 hours. And realize that that's even less than 2 hours a week, but I think that you'll have to spend time reviewing before you can start. So it should be between 5 and 10 hours a week, which is a lot, but we have a very shortened semester. It depends on how well you did in 112 and how familiar you are with this material, and how well you review. You'll have lots of resources to help you. Okay. And so after you cover material, the next week you'll have a quiz over it, and then you'll have additional labs. Okay, let's go back to Blackboard. Okay. Awesome. So now let's get a look at the labs. So our labs are through McGraw-Hill's Connect, and you've got each link in here to each lab. So I'm going to right-click, open a new tab, and you'll go to that specific lab. You can go to the home there, and you'll go to the list of labs. Okay, so I'm going to click on one so we can go through just a little bit here to give you some of the tools that you have. Okay, when you get into the lab, your lab instructor will start speaking, and you'll have different parts over here to complete. And it tells you for each part the average amount of time it takes. So you always start with what's highlighted in yellow. You can't tell right now because it's all yellow, but this is highlighted. And so core concepts are basically the intro. What do you know? What do you need to know to be successful? And then in the middle, you've got 1 to 3 labs. And then you've got final summary questions that after doing these parts should be quite easy. So let's go into one. And let's look at some resources we have. So overview will take you back to that first page of the lab that we were just at. Reports will show you how you've done in different parts. One great area to help you is the library. So if you don't remember things or if you don't know how to do a part, look in the library. I'm sure there's information on it. So then you can read about the one part that you're struggling with at that time. And then there's help. Okay, so I'm going to go overview back to the beginning. And another point to make here is so when you're going through, it saves what you do, but you can't go backwards. It's really difficult. So make sure that if you have parts that you don't understand or that you think might be important later, that you take notes on it. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And here you just say how sure you are of something. Oh, and I didn't even try. 1 in 4 chance. And it's okay, be honest there. Some of the questions will be check all that apply. Yeah, that wasn't going to work again. As you work through your lab. And it does this mastery. So when you get things right and you show 100% mastery, you get 100% credit. Okay, if I choose to leave the assignment and I go back in, I'd have to start over on that part. Once you complete it, it'll save. But if you're doing like an experiment where you're measuring things, if you don't save your information, you won't have it later. You'll have to go back through again. So from what I understand, the most important thing for students that didn't go well for other instructors was that they weren't taking good notes while they did the labs. So then afterwards they had nothing to study. And if that's the case, then you will have a really hard time when you come to take your final. So the best thing you can do while you take those labs is to take good notes. Where should you take those notes, you say? Well, I have an idea. Okay. So underneath labs, you've got the lab notebook. And I haven't done this before either, and I'm really hoping that it goes well. OneNote is part of Microsoft Office, and you have access to it. You can download it to your computer. If you don't have it, it's free through us. And so what OneNote does is each of you will have your own OneNote. Okay. Okay, and I set up a notebook. Basically, you've got different sections of your notebook, and then within that, you've got pages. And on each of these, for each lab, there's notes. Helpful hints as you go through, introductory materials that could help you. Those will be especially helpful as we get into more complicated parts. I've got some links to Crash Course Biology. I've also got some links to my own lecture videos that will help you. And at the top it says the average amount of time that it takes to complete that lab. Okay, so this is a great place to take notes. I'm not 100% that you can edit this. I think you can, and you should each be able to edit your own version, and then you could take notes there. Otherwise, you could add another page. You could just move it up by that lab. And then you could do a copy of a screenshot anytime you took research, gathered data, and put it in your notebook, so that no matter what you're doing, you have access to it. And this is really boring because it's the same thing, because that's my screenshot. Super exciting. But yeah, you can take notes in here. The more organized you can say, will you complete the lab, the more you're setting yourself up for success. In a 5-week course, you don't have time to go back and redo the labs because you don't remember. Getting a picture of your lab notebook, putting it in here so that you can study it even without going to the website and clicking through things, makes your life so much better. I'm not doing this for credit. It's just to help you. I hope that you use it and find it helpful. I definitely recommend that you look through your notes. So that was the online view of OneNote. This is the OneNote itself when it's just the program open. So it's a little bit prettier in here. But either way works. Okay, so back to Blackboard. Underneath we just have additional resources. There's lots of links to biology pages, Blackboard information. Pretty exciting stuff here. Another thing I should note, okay, so everything is due Sunday by midnight Central Time. Well, when it transfers over to Blackboard, Blackboard's in Eastern Time. So it puts it as that Monday at basically 1 a.m. So make sure you're doing everything on time. If it's late, it's worth 0 credit. You need to stay on top of things, make a schedule of when you're going to work on this to be successful. And if you're struggling, you need to ask questions right away. We don't have time for you to struggle for a week and not understand what's going on. Email with questions. Stop by my office hours. I can make appointments on main campus. You really need to do the best you can to set yourself up for success. Please keep in touch. Complete the syllabus quiz by Tuesday at midnight. Otherwise, I'll drop you as a no-show. Good luck. I hope we do well together. I hope this course goes well. Please be in contact when you have questions.